Coverings. Angels announce the birth of baby Jesus. Every church has its angel. Where a church forms, where two or three gather together, angels are watching. Indeed, there are thousands and thousands of angels watching the lives of Jesus' disciples. Fact is, are not all angels ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation? Hebrews 1:14. An angel was sent to the Apostle John to give Christian churches the book of Revelation. We read in Revelation 1:1, "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place. He made it known by sending his angel to his servant John." The angel who is revealing the book of Revelation to the Apostle John opens for us the fact each church has its angel. The church in Ephesus, Smyrna, Pergamum, Thyatira, Sardis, Philadelphia, or Laodicea each had their angel. John is told to write something specific, not to the leadership of each church, but to every angel of a church. One example is recorded in the book of Revelation, that John was to write to the following to the church in Sardis. To the angel of the church in Sardis write, "These are the words of him who holds the seven spirits of God and the seven stars. I know your deeds. You have a reputation of being alive, but you are dead." Revelation 3:1. The angels look down upon a church to see if the men and women are lovingly, joyfully obedient to the living God. The angels look to see that each person, male or female, is fulfilling God's will and commandments. These angels rejoice in watching disciples obey God. In each congregation, there is a holy obedience that should be seen. That perfect will of God being men are in leadership, and women are fulfilling their God-given role of humble helpmate. The Apostle Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 11:10, "For this reason, and because of the angels, the woman ought to have a sign of authority on her head." During worship and only during church services, a woman is to have a covering or sign of authority on her head. The covering is not a covering that hides the face for all men and women, may freely turn their faces toward seeking the living God. The sign of authority is to be worn only during church because long hair is a woman's God-designed covering for daily life. The very nature of God's DNA, both physical and spiritual DNA, is a design for men and women that women should have long hair and men short hair. Does not the very nature of things teach you that if a man has long hair, it is a disgrace to him, but that if a woman has long hair, it's her glory? For long hair is given to her as a covering. 1 Corinthians 11, verses 14 to 15. Obeying this in faith will produce a vibrantly spiritual church and be pleasing to the angels who are watching. Seeking the humility of Jesus with a sign of authority during worship causes the Holy Spirit to bless such a congregation. All other churches will be rebuked. It is not cultural reasons the women should wear a covering during church. The reason, the joy that comes from wisdom on the matter of a covering, is based upon God's act when He creating men and women, Adam and Eve. In 1 Corinthians, the reasons are laid out clearly that this is no cultural commandment. A man ought not to cover his head, since he is the image and glory of God. But the woman is the glory of man. For man did not come from woman, but woman from man. Neither was man created for woman, but woman for man. For this reason, and because of the angels, the woman ought to have a sign of authority on her head. 1 Corinthians 11, verses 7 through 10. The same John who recorded the book of Revelation also writes, "This is love for God, to obey His commands. And His commands are not burdensome." 1 John 5:3. Blessed are those churches who obey all the commands of God, finding none to be burdensome. Blessed are all the spiritually empowered women who wear a sign of authority with the humility of Jesus covering them. Spiritual women who have the strength to worship in quietness and submission. Blessed will be all who worship God in such a manner. www.luke1425.org. Because Jesus said, "Sit down and count the cost."